Tansei, bonjour, and hello. Wow, welcome to Kikino Métis Settlements. We're here on Hideaway Adventure Grounds. My name is John Ritchie, and I am going to be sharing some stuff that I've learned about my culture. I moved out to Kikino when I was 16 to live with my older brother, and that's when I really started to understand what it meant to be Métis, learning how our forefathers survived in the wilderness. There was no hardware store to go buy the lumber. No, they just took their axe and their saws, they went off to the forest here, and they found what they need. I have been working with the Métis Nation for many years, learning from other knowledge holders, visiting historic sites, and just gaining a real appreciation for who I am as a Métis person. And as I share stories with visitors, we find out who we are together, and we just explore our natural environments. Here we are on Hideaway Adventure Grounds, and we happen to be here in Miksupism. So for those of you who are just learning, as I am just learning how to speak our wonderful language, Miksupism means Eagle Month. It's the coldest month of the year. Nobody's moving, the animals are not moving, and the eagle builds his nest in this month. Today, I am proud to share how to set up a traditional trapper's tent. You need to know how to tie the knots that hold these poles securely together. And then, how do we heat these structures? We're going to be looking at both the traditional style with the external poles, and I'm also going to demonstrate the modern style of the trapper's tent, which I use on a regular basis when I go camping in the mountains and in our provincial and national parks. So here we are, we got our 9 poles laid out in the position where we need them. We have a ridge line right down the center. That's going to pick up the peak of the tent. We have 2 poles on our front and back, which are going to act as support. And then we have our bracing coming out the back and the front, and that's going to make sure that our tent doesn't fall over. So now we use a couple of different knots and a couple of different tying techniques. So this technique to hold these side poles at a right angle on our support poles this is called lashing. This one's going to be called a square lashing. We go over the top, we go under, and we keep our rope nice and tight. And when we lash, when we bring our rope up, we want to be on the inside of our previous line, because that creates even more tension on the rope as it crosses over the lines. So we just keep that line nice and tight. We cross over, we put it on the inside every time. Cross over, inside, bring it around, comes up, inside. And now we're gonna do something called a frap. So we wrap this way, and that's gonna tighten up our lines even more. So we get a couple wraps in there and pull it nice and tight, secure everything down, everything just locks into place. And then we finish off our knot. So this can take hour and a half. One person tie all these connection points. When there's a couple of people, it goes a little quicker. Get everything ready to lift. And then we start to lift in sections, and we see the tent come up. Why the trapper's tent was so important to the trappers and the explorers is their portability. They're not made out of a fixed wall. You can take them down, roll them up, fold them up. It can go anywhere that you could go. You don't need to take your poles with you, because when you get to your new site, you just grab your axe. You know by experience how long of poles you need. You just go harvest new poles and then you're ready to set it up. So I really enjoy setting up the modern trapper's tent. It's quick, it's fast, so effective. I get it done in minutes. I still go camping with this trapper's tent all the time. There's enough room in this trapper's tent that I can put a heat source. I can put down my cot, and then my dog just lays right on the ground, and whenever we go camping, we're all set to go with our own home. Making fire in the snow. It can be easy. So we just clear away the snow, because when the snow warms up, it's gonna melt and it's gonna make the ground wet and soggy, and that's gonna inhibit our fire. And then we have a platform. So here we are. We have our tinder. We got a mix of birch bark, a mix, some fluff from the cattails. We have our wood chips ready to go on once we get some flame happening here. And then we have our additional wood to put on. So to get our fire going today, we're gonna be using this ferro rod with a striker, and it'll create a spark. And then we will put our nice dry wood on to build up our fire. And I'm sort of laying on my wood in sort of a log cabin style fashion, because then that sort of preheats the wood. It allows a lot of air to get into our fire, and that will keep us warm throughout the day, throughout the night. That's what makes our food, and it just warms us. So now I would like to share a story that has grown inside of me, that shares who we are and how we're connected to the land. The LeBlancs wake even before Peasum. The sun rises over the meadow of spring green grass. A river flows fast with spring melts as the young ones catch fish for the day. Tea and biscuits are made on the fire at the camp. The men ready the Mr. Timwok, and the women pack the household items. This goes there, that goes here. Come on, everybody, you know your job. At last, the covering is thrown over the loaded cart as the wheels start to turn for another day. The young ones run after the scout as he leads the hunters down the path. The women busily picking this and that along the way. Young ones busy themselves with sticks and stones, practicing hand-eye coordination, tossing at small game that may feed the family at the end of the day. The sun is high in the sky, and the children are hungry, so old Cookum yells to the men to stop. The cover comes off the wagon to fetch the pots and pans along with the ration pack for the day. After a while, old Cookum says, "Time to go. You men fix that cart. You kids quit fighting." As the sun sets on the horizon, the men draw the caravan to a halt. The young men grab their axes and off to the forest floor they go. They know what to do. Again, the women and the children are hustling and bustling. As Cookum says, "Move. The men are bringing the poles. You kids get out of there." The covering is retrieved from the cart, laid on the ground very carefully. Then the poles are laid, 3 this way, some more over there. The ropes are tied as the men sing their song and lift that covering into a home. Hustle and bustle, the women and children quickly put into place each household as it was this morn. And around the campfire, you hear, "This is the spot, grandson. You'll see. Tomorrow we see the buffalo." In our story, we can see how we are connected to the land, how the sharing of knowledge is passed down through the different generations by simply sitting around the fire. So the fire is always the heart of our home.